Hello, lovely people, and welcome to another episode of our Schulering Hub podcast talking hospitality. Today, I have a very special guest, a bright, smiley person here with us, Wilka Nascimento. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Maurício. It's a pleasure to be here today.
So Wilka has an extended experience in sales and marketing I would say, in a few of the biggest flags in the hotel industry. So when we talk here in Schulering community, Wilka, we always start with the human side first. So people want to know you, who they are listening to. So Wilka, what's your story in the hospitality, please?
Wow, my story is a bit little, complicated. I've been in many cities in the U.S., but I can give you, like, on the nutshell, I came from Brazil for an internship program about 15 years ago. And I did study hospitality in Cuiabá, Mato Grosso, where I'm from. And I decided that I wanted to become fluent in English. So I said I need to go to the States and participate in this internship so I can come back, and be the best I can be. So I've been here, like I said, for about 15 years, but I'm working for different hotel brands, from in the hotel brands to independents, and now I'm outside of that role, but is still in the hospitality industry, and being really creative, using that, creativity piece to also launch my own podcast, which has been cool. And, connecting with folks like yourself as well throughout LinkedIn. So it's amazing.
I've been following you for a while now, so it's quite an honor to be talking to you, having you in my new show here. So I'm quite excited about. So you host the Leadership Talks podcast, speaking to some of the great names in the industry. What motivated you to start this project?
Actually, that's an amazing question, because it is a project, right? It's work, you put in work, and it's a tool really for marketing, right? So when COVID was here about 2 years ago, and there was nothing really to be creative in the hotel, right? Because I was doing all of the operations and so forth. So I worked throughout the pandemic, and I'm blessed for that, no doubt. But I needed a way to express myself, and I wanted to hear other people what they were going through as well. So I said, I'm going to start a podcast. And fun fact, because I was in touch with another Brazilian guy that is based out of Denmark, and huge shout out to Carlos Monteiro. He is amazing. He's an expat like ourselves. And he said, Wilka, just do it. Start slowly, one interview a month, and then you grow your audience. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to start. And because I was I was feeling that I was held back and I couldn't speak about a challenging leadership that I was experiencing myself during the pandemic. So I said, that's a great idea. I'm going to run with it. And it's been amazing.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, I believe that the pandemic changed the drive for a lot of people. Yes, like for me, my project started in the pandemic as well, like just being there, and I needed to express myself. It wasn't the podcast, it was my the platform, the Schulering Hub itself, but it's amazing how we get driven by when we have some motivation from within, isn't it?
Exactly, and I think for us, also, this idea of connecting expats that Carlos has, from his own project, it's like, well, there is many hoteliers out of Brazil that, go outside of the country to study. And the next thing you know, you're already succeeding because, we have that passion of, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to learn English, and I'm going to make it happen, right? So I think it's a great, tool for marketing, for personal branding myself. I use that as well to connect, like you said, with many industry leaders. And it's amazing because then you see if people have heard about you, if people have heard about the podcast, like their real interest, in the subject leadership. So it's been great.
So let's talk about a little bit about the leadership then. I have a question that is like, When it comes to leadership, what is the biggest challenge that hoteliers are facing now?
To be honest, I think from my experience, right, in the States, the challenge is to really train the staff that you have and to promote within, right? And then also to get to hire new staff. So like the challenge I've seen throughout these 2 years is staffing, no doubt. And even, another huge shout out to John Carpenter. He's an HR leader. He has been putting together like summits and workshops and talking to hoteliers what they are experiencing. So, the latest one I attended here in DC, and it's amazing, like the conversations you hear around the room. But also like the hoteliers that succeed are those that practice culture in their hotel, right? Because this is a business for people. And if you don't treat your employees with, honesty and respect and considering that they have a life outside of that hotel, I think, that's why some of the people are having challenges. And the way the hospitality is here in the States, it's long hours, and I'm sure everywhere across the globe is the same. But also, besides you giving your blood and sweat, right, to work, you also need that time to step back and be like, hey, my team, I'm not in person at the hotel, but my team got my back, because I'm on a weekend with my family on a barbecue, So like the team training and having that, hey, I got it. But also it's the understanding, right? It's like I can't just be a manager and then get the best schedule for myself or just give the best benefits to my own self. And that's the challenge, that I've experienced myself in terms of leadership in the hotel side.
Did you hear that, hotelier? Culture, yeah? Culture over... To solve the problems with staffing, culture will be the root of it. If I picked up right, culture will help a lot to solve the staffing problem right now.
Absolutely.
Now, like we spoke a little bit about your past, yeah. We now spoke a little bit about the present, yeah? And we have a tradition here that is talk a little bit about the future. Okay, so it's just a little game that we play here. As you can see up here, I'm a very big fan of Back to the Future. So I like to play a game. Yeah, I invite everyone to jump to Dr. Emmett's brown car and fly to 2035, and you need a place to stay there. How will be that experience? How is it going to be to stay in a hotel in 2035?
Wow, that's a fun game, but I cannot even picture myself so far in the future. But I think, that the hotels and the technology is definitely emerging, right? So the hotels are becoming a little bit more tech. And I love, don't get me wrong, I love to arrive in a hotel and having, don't have to wait on the line to check in, right? Or come to my row and I can control the curtains with my phone and the TV channels with my phone through an app, right? I just think that is the direction. But for me in particular, if I would say where I would like to stay, because, I'm from a small town in Brazil and I still have, and I honor those simple, right? I want sustainable places, right? I want to make sure that for an instance, right, like in the Pantanal in Brazil, like which is similar to the Amazon forest, you have the luxury. But the luxury, it's not super tech, but it's involving the community, right? It's sustainable. Like you go fishing on a fishing excursion, you catch the fish, that's what you're going to eat for dinner. Like for me, that type of experience is so much more rewarding, satisfying. Yeah. But, I think that is the different markets, right? Like, for example, if we were talking about here in the States, I'm sure, you don't have to it will be really towards the tech, but I think because the hotel industry, it's a little bit more delayed. I don't want to say, otherwise, but it's a little bit more delayed in terms of, tech and advancements. But I can see many hotels, like just like selling all of the paradise, right? And you already have some of those. Like I experienced, myself, a hotel in Philly that had this app, that you can do all of this channel changing and curtain and doing everything really just using your phone, opening the hotel door, room door. And it is like, for sure, the technology is coming. And I just think that hoteliers need to be a little bit more modern and acceptable and flexible to these changes, right?
Yeah, I'm with you. And hoteliers should be a little bit more adventurous when it comes to technology, isn't it?
For sure, for sure.
Wilka, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. How can people find you and have a conversation, listen to your podcast?
Well, the Leadership Talks podcast is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other channels podcasting. And of course, right, LinkedIn, Wilka Nascimento. I'm sure that, once you post, they can spell my last name correctly.
I can do that.
yeah, but that's the best way. And, I'm very happy that you're doing this project, because I think people, need to be more involved and more connected, right? We have the technology for that, right? You are in Prague right now. I'm in DC, and it's a beautiful thing, right? But I think the connection with folks, right? I'm sure if I have a chance to go to Prague, I'm gonna call you and be like, hey, can we have coffee? And that's what it matters. Like, technology is great, right? But like, how can I actually meet with you and connect in person with you, right? And I think that's amazing when people actually, even on Wednesday, I was in a meeting, and a gentleman came up to me and he said, Wilka, how are you? Finally, I'm meeting you. And I'm like, I'm sorry, and shout out to David, actually. So we've been talking through LinkedIn for over 3 years, because he works in a hotel in DC. I was downtown DC as well. And we just exchanging experiences like that we are having in the market and so forth. But we never actually sat down for coffee. And finally, in this day, on Wednesday, he came by and said hello. So it's like, the connections certainly is unparalleled, to the business, regardless, if you keep so much focus on in the technology side of it. But I think, the personal connections are here to stay, needs to be here to stay more than ever. So thank you so much, Maurício, for having me today.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. So now that you said all this, I'll put, of course, your links to contact, to find you for your podcast and everything in the comments here. But I have a request, community. So if you're listening to this and you like this show, please share with your colleagues. Let people know that there's some people, amazing people like Wilka here, trying to help to grow the community, evolve, to learn. That's what it is about. That's what the community should do. We should get together and evolve, come out of this shaking 2 years that we had, and actually grow from it, be better today. Wilka, it was a pleasure to have you. Thank you very, very much. I hope that you have a great day there in DC. My day is finishing here in Prague, and I hope to see you sometime here soon.
Thank you so much again, Maurício. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Schulering. Bye.